He's ready for the final reveal.
Live your life within the moment, moment. And don't go wait until the morning, morning. You never know when it is over, over. All that I know is we'll get older, older. So let us dance this night away.
Hello, and welcome back to the channel. I hope that you guys are doing well and you are looking forward to today's video because we are finally revealing our dining room. I have been staring at this space for well over 2 years now, just trying to figure out how I was going to design the downstairs area because it's all one big open space. But once I finally had a plan and now putting that plan into action, I'm really excited to see how everything comes together. But as of right now, the dining room is still very much a hot mess because I still have a few projects that I need to complete before I start to load things in and do a final reveal at the end of the video. But before I start on some of those projects, I do want to thank you guys so much for all of the love of last week's video of me reupholstering the dining room sofa. The response was equally heartwarming and overwhelming, as I think it's one of my top shared videos to date. It's just wow. I am actually a little obsessed that you guys really enjoyed watching the process of me learning how to upholster the sofa as well as learn how to sew right in front of you, right on the video. I think that's so cool that you guys enjoyed that, and it just makes me really, really happy. I also learned that you guys are watching these videos on the TV. Here, I was thinking that you guys are watching maybe on your phones or on the computers, but to learn that you're watching it on the TV just makes me so happy. Oftentimes watching things on your phone seems a little impersonal. We're scrolling, we're really not paying attention. So knowing that you guys are sitting down, intentionally having your breakfast or your morning coffee while watching my videos just means everything. The way that you guys support me on this channel and some of my other ventures like my newsletter, my Instagram, my TikTok and Pinterest, my shop, everything, you guys are just amazing. And again, thank you. Speaking of the sofa, we have decided to add wheels to the bottom of it. Not only will it allow for it to be easier to get in and out of, but it's also going to add height to it. We did notice that when we put the sofa and the dining room table together, that the sofa sat just a little lower. So we're thinking that by adding the wheels, we can add maybe another 1.5 to 2 inches, which I think is going to be perfect. So what I'm actually going to do is just look on Amazon right now for some wheels. So I'll pop it up here. I'll add in brass casters. And if you can remember, these are the wheels that I added to the dining room table. So I really want to try to find something that kind of fits that same style, which this looks really good. Yeah, I really like these. I like that it's kind of like an antique brass and it has a little bit of the black at the bottom. So yeah, I think I'm gonna go ahead and just add these to cart, right? And now that I have them in hand, I think I'm gonna go ahead and go to the dining room, put these onto the sofa, and then start some of our other projects. So how about in just a moment, you guys meet me over at the dining room. Let's talk about the next project, which is this cabinet here. So several years ago, I was shopping at my favorite store, Trosa, and I stumbled upon this cabinet. Now, by no means did I think that I was walking in that day to pick up a glass cabinet that I had absolutely no idea where I was going to put it. But when I saw it, I just knew that I had to have it. So back at that time, I was actually thinking of opening up my own brick and mortar, and I thought, how amazing would this cabinet be if I had this in my shop as the cashier checkout spot. And so the more that I kept thinking about it, I was just kind of hovering around the cabinet, making sure that nobody else was going to take it. And the more that I hovered, the more that I convinced myself that I needed to purchase this cabinet. And so that's exactly what I did. I purchased it with the goal of opening up my own shop one day, and until then, put it into my storage unit. So it has been sitting there now for about 3 years, and just last week Mark and I went to my storage unit to pick it up, to put it into this space, because I thought that it would be kind of a perfect new take on a china cabinet. So what I plan to do with it is just place all of my favorite dishes and extra glassware that can't fit in the kitchen one and really use this as a space to display some of my favorite finds. And so once we brought it into this space, we did a little refurbishing of it. We went ahead and removed some of the brackets that they had. The cabinet originally came with a wooden shelf, and so what I wanted to do was to remove the brackets so that we could add glass shelves to the space. And in addition to that, I also sanded the bottom of the cabinet just because it was just a little old and worn, and it needed a little bit of freshening up. So we went ahead and sanded it all, and then I came back in and stained it to match the cabinet, and it turned out beautifully. And so after that, then that's when we decided to go ahead and get those glass cabinets. And so I went to my favorite shop here in Durham. It's a local shop called the Durham Glass Company. And I had some custom shelves made just like I did for the kitchen cabinet. And we put those in just a couple of days ago. And I think that it really looks fabulous. And so this is what it looks like now. And I think that it's going to be even more amazing once I finally get it into the space and decorate it, and a picture hanging and a lamp over there. It's gonna be awesome. So I can't wait to show you guys in a little while what this cabinet is going to look like, but I can guarantee you it's going to be fabulous. Now let's talk about lighting. So from the very beginning of this project, I knew that I wanted to add this Amber Lewis chandelier to the dining room. I just thought it was really beautiful. I thought it was different. It would make a statement. And so I knew that that was going to be the one that was going to go into this space. But as I started to really think about it, I was like, do I really love it? Do I feel like it's a little bit too trendy? Am I gonna love it next year or the next 2 years or 5 years? And so I know that a lot of you might be like, who cares? If you love it now, buy it now, and you can always replace it. But if you've been following me for a long time, you know that I only really like to bring things into my home that I love and that I'm going to have around for a long time, if not forever. And because I couldn't say that the Amber Lewis piece was a forever piece, I decided to start looking for some other options. And so during Thanksgiving, I flew home to Ohio to spend some time with my family. And of course, like everyone, after Thanksgiving, we went out shopping and we landed in Pottery Barn because I was looking for some new Christmas ornaments. But what I found next kind of blew my mind. So we were walking towards the back of the store, and I happened to see this chandelier, and I was like, I have to have it. There was just something I really loved about it. While it was very classic and timeless, it also felt a little modern, which I loved. And so I went to see if I could try to find how much it was, but there was not a tag on the lamp, and so, or on the chandelier. And so I went online onto their website to see if I could find it. So I'm just scrolling and scrolling and scrolling through all of their ceiling chandeliers, and unfortunately I wasn't able to find this specific one. So I had my dad go find a sales associate and ask her how much it was, and when she came over, she was like, oh, that was a return. That's the only chandelier that we have. We no longer sell it, so you can't get it at another store, and you can't get it online, and I believe that it retails at $1,600, but I need to check with my manager just to make sure. Unfortunately, my manager is not in the store right now, but when she comes back, I can ask her how much it is, and then I can give you a call. So just give me your phone number, we'll give you a call as soon as she gets back. So a couple hours later, we were still shopping, and I get a phone call from Pottery Barn, and she said, I talked to my manager, and yes, it is $1,600, but because it was a return and because it is a floor model, we are going to put it at 50% off, which will make it around $800. And I was like, oh, that's still a little over my price range. But she was like, but because it is a floor model and we really do want to get rid of it because we have a whole new inventory that will be coming shortly, my manager is willing to sell it to you for $200. And I was like, shut up. I literally said, shut up. And I was like, I will absolutely take it. Please do not sell it to anyone else. I want it. She said, okay, it's yours. I gave her my credit card information over the phone just to make sure that it was nice and secure and it was mine. And I told her that I couldn't pick it up today, and she said that was fine because it was still shopping hours and they wouldn't be able to take it down, but I could pick it up anytime, starting, the next day or anytime next week. And I told her that, well, I flew home to visit my family. I don't live here in Ohio. And she said, but I said, my parents can come and pick it up sometime next week, and then they'll save it for me. And then when I drive back for Christmas, then I can pick it up then. And she says, no problem, it's no rush. We can keep it here. Just let them know that it's it'll be available starting tomorrow, and they can pick it up anytime next week. And so I am so excited for the chandelier. I think it's really going to be beautiful in this space, and I just love also these big shades. I think it's just going to be beautiful. There's 7 lights that go all the way around, and I think it's just going to be a really nice statement piece when you walk into this space. So the one thing that we do have to do before we are able to hang it is we need to shorten it a little bit. So whoever had this first, I guess they had some really tall ceilings because it is very long, much too long for us to be able to hang in this space. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut the wire here. We're going to remove this piece and this piece because we only need this piece here. And so then we will then rewire the wire up through here, attach this to the ceiling, and our light will be up there and be very beautiful, and I cannot wait. So I just wanted to show you guys this process in case you don't know how to hang a light yourself. I thought that this would just be a nice little quick tutorial of how you typically hang a light on your ceiling. So let's get started. sorry about that, but it was really hard to get those holes and the screws aligned so that we could insert them. It was a hot mess, but we ended up getting them in, and now the light is hung. This is the last project, I promise, and then it will be time for the final reveal. But this is a fun one because this is about decor. So, back in the fall, I ended up finding an artist on Instagram, and her name is Brittany Schultz. And I was really drawn to her paintings because she does a lot of moody landscapes, which of course you know that I love. So when I saw this painting online and it was still available to purchase, I got it immediately because I knew that it was going to be beautiful in our dining room. And here it is. I just love all of the colors. I love the moodiness. I think it's going to be beautiful, and I cannot wait to get it up. Because I've been working on project after project after project over the last several months, I just forgot to get this thing framed. I had meant to take this to our local framer, and I just forgot. And because I really want to include this in our reveal today, I decided I'm just going to go ahead and make my own frame. And so what I'm going to do is use some leftover frame that we had when we built the surround for our fireplace mantle that we refurbished, and use that to create the frame. And so here is the trim here. And I really do think that it's going to make for a nice frame. I just like some of the detail that's in here, and I just think that it kind of looks like a perfect frame for this painting. And so what I'm going to do in order to get this thing made is I'm going to take a big piece of plywood and cut it down to the size of the painting, leaving about an inch and a half border all the way around. And so once the painting is mounted on the plywood, I'm then going to take that trim and then go ahead and cut it on our miter saw, so I can go ahead and make those, those angled cuts, the 45-degree cuts on each side, and then get everything stained and then attach that frame to the plywood. Fingers crossed it's going to work, but I really think that it's just going to be kind of an easy project. And I also have a step in here that if you don't have a fancy miter saw, we just happen to really want to invest in an electric miter saw because we had some projects that really needed something substantial. But if you don't have a miter saw and if you don't want to invest in one, then I'm going to show you a way that you can still create these frames yourself for a fraction of the cost. So I'm going to get the saws together, and then I will meet you back here in just a moment.
Quiero tenerte pa'
while the frame is drying, I thought that I would talk to you guys a little bit about the hand miter saw that I mentioned a while ago. This is what it looks like. And as you can see, there are slits that go all the way down the side, and this is where your saw blade would go. And then on the side, and I'm not sure if you can see them, but on the side there are numbers. And so if you wanted a 45-degree cut, this is where your blade would go. And let's say you wanted just a straight cut at this 0 point mark, this is where your blade would go. And so essentially you would just take a piece of wood, you would place it in this device here, and then based on the type of cut that you need to make, that's where you would put your blade. So let's say you wanted to do a 45-degree cut, you would just put it in the 45-degree mark, and then you would make that cut. So you can see there you would have a nice 45-degree cut. And then the same, if you just wanted a straight cut, you could put that in the 0 point mark here and just do your straight cut. It really is easy, and I don't know if I mentioned it, it's super cheap. Like this, it comes with this, is like $15, maybe $20. I'll pop it here up on the screen just so that you guys can see it. But we have used this a lot before we decided to invest in our fancy miter saw. We actually used it upstairs in our guest bedroom. We used it in our walk-in closet. It's just really great for simple projects, especially like what I'm doing now is building this frame, or if you're doing shoe molding along the bottom of your floor. This is a great tool for that. And it's also great that it doesn't stop you from creating some of these projects that you see me doing here on the channel. You don't need the fanciest of tools in order to create these things. You can get this $15 tool right here, and it is going to give you your perfect miter cuts that you need for your projects. So, no excuses. Guess what time it is? It is finally time to load in the room. But first I am going to take a break. I'm going to get something to eat. I'm going to change into something much more beautiful. And then when I come back, we will load in the room, we will decorate, and then finally the reveal. So I'll see you guys in a minute. All right, I am back and took a little bit of a break, decided to dress in something a little bit more appropriate for the occasion, and now I'm about to do the one thing that we've all been waiting for, is to load everything in and start to decorate. So let's go. Before we do a final reveal, I want to take a step back and remind you guys of what this space used to look like. And as you can see, the room was painted a pretty dark blue, but it was just too dark for this space because we don't get that much light on this side of the house. And so what we did is we hired some painters to come and remove all of the popcorn off of the ceilings and then give the entire downstairs a fresh coat of white paint. And it really did brighten up things quite a bit, and we really, really like it. So once that was done, we started to come up with a plan of how we wanted to design this space. And I knew that I really wanted the space to have like a neutral moodiness. And so moodiness not in terms of darkness, but in terms of how I incorporated it in terms of color of the fabric, of the different wood choices and furniture around the space, as well as artwork. And I really do think that it came together nicely. From the very beginning, I knew that I wanted a round table, so you guys saw me kind of go through that entire process of first thinking that we were going to completely build it and then finding that vintage table that we recreated, and it turned out beautifully. And then last week you saw that I reupholstered the sofa, and having a curved couch is definitely something that I wanted from the very beginning of this process. And then all of the other little bits and pieces throughout the space I think just really fit well with that neutral, moody theme that I wanted in this space. And now I cannot wait to show you guys. So finally, here is the reveal, and I hope you guys love it. So, what do you guys think? I hope that you love it as much as I do, because I really do feel like it came together beautifully. I don't know if you guys caught it, but at the last minute I added in a cabinet that I have had for quite some time. Again, I found that at my same favorite thrift shop, Troza. And when I was just kind of putting stuff together and loading in the room, I felt like one side of the room just needed a little bit more height. And so by adding that cabinet in, as well as the basket that I got on top, it is handmade from Ghana, and I absolutely love it. I feel like it's just like a piece of art. I think that it really did fill that space nicely. And another thing that I really love about the space is there's still room to grow. There's still room to add things, to add more art. You know, maybe there's something that would go back here. I don't know if it's a big plant or another structure, a piece of furniture of some sort, but I love that I still have room to grow and shop and decorate. And so yeah, I think that it turned out really, really well, and I honestly couldn't ask for anything more. So with that, I hope that you guys will come back next week because we will be revealing our entryway finally. There were some changes that were made really up until the last minute, and I think that you guys are gonna really enjoy what we're gonna do in that space. So be sure to come back here next Sunday. And I guess with that, I'm going to let you go. Again, thank you so much for being a part of this entire process. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. As always, please comment down below of what you think, and I promise you I will always answer every single comment that's left down below, and everything that I can link will be linked down below. There's a lot of things in this space that came from thrift stores, and unfortunately I can't link those, but anything that you can still shop and buy for your own home, I'll be sure to link that down below. So you guys have a good rest of your day, and I will see you next week. Bye.